Thanks for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. President Muhammadu Buhari has reassured Nigerians in diaspora of his administration's commitment to continue to protect and promote the image and integrity of Nigeria and Nigerians. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports that this was when the president interacted with the Nigerian community in the Republic of South Africa. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari and his South African counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa, have reaffirmed the strategic bilateral relations between their countries and, in the spirit of solidarity, committed themselves to working together towards enhancing political, economic and social cooperation for the benefit of their peoples. This was at state banquet in honor of the Nigerian leader by the South African government as he rounds off his remarkable historic visit to Pretoria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
See you again. Thank you very much.
The state banquet was put together by President Cyril Ramaphosa to show appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the renewed friendship between their countries anchored on mutual respect, solidarity and understanding. In the past 2 days, hope for a better future through a shared vision has been rekindled as Nigeria and South Africa recommitted themselves to working as a united front towards confronting the numerous challenges of conflict, insecurity, migration, poverty, corruption, and poor governance bedeviling their countries and the continent. And with their abundant human and natural resources at the disposal of Nigeria and South Africa, the two leaders believe that such can be effectively harnessed and developed to put the two countries, and indeed Africa, on the path of peace and prosperity.
We believe that a strong strategic relationship between Nigeria and South Africa can become the engine for the rapid economic, political, social, cultural development of Africa, thereby delivering the Africa we want.
Our countries must continue to participate in promoting peace and security agenda for the continent. In this respect, we require African solutions for African problems.
The solemn event also provided the opportunity for the leaders to reflect on their country's long-lasting relations forged in a common struggle against colonialism and apartheid.
We in Nigeria are very proud that we stood with the people of Southern Africa in their hour of need. As they say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. We are also very proud that we are today charting an exciting new path towards the Africa we want.
Without Nigeria's support, our freedom would have come at a much greater cost and would have been even delayed more. We will never forget the great debt we owe you, and we will never allow the lawless actions of a few to undermine the bonds of friendship between our two peoples.
With a relationship now full of potential and promise, South Africa and Nigeria see the elevated by the National Commission as an important platform for them to keep on the same page as they move forward as one people with a shared vision and one destiny.
May you and the people of Nigeria have good health as Nigeria addresses all the challenges it has moving towards prosperity.
I would like therefore to seize this opportunity to formally invite you to pay a state visit to Nigeria for a town match where we as Super Eagles will surely revenge against you, the Bafana Bafana.
Nigeria and the Republic of South Africa are the two largest economies in Africa. From Pretoria, South Africa, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Buhari's three-day visit to South Africa is eliciting reactions from a cross-section of Nigerians. One of such is Nigeria's former ambassador to the Republic of Angola, Folorunsho Otukoya. He described President Muhammadu Buhari's visit to South Africa as commendable, capable of deepening the relationship between the two countries.
One of the takeaways is the elected binational commission. That it was meeting of two ministers of foreign affairs, but now the two presidents are going to be meeting regularly, and a commission has set to further discuss issues, and Nigeria will be hosting the first session in April next year. Secondly, they have observed that we have about 32 outstanding agreements, bilateral agreements and MOUs. They've committed themselves to strengthening the ones that are operational and revisiting the ones that are dormant, to revive them and perhaps make amendments where it is necessary. So that Nigerians live in South Africa is known by most South Africans. So maybe South Africa we have to recruit more non-uniformed security personnel who will go with the community and be able to listen when something is brewing and give an early signal to our embassy or our consulate and vice versa in Nigeria. From what we see so far, I think Nigerians are happy, good enough that we are on the right path.
Nigeria's former ambassador to the Republic of Angola, Folorunsho Okoya, on the president's visit to South Africa. And away from the president's visit now, in a bid to contain the misuse of firearms by personnel of the Nigeria Police Force, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has launched the review of the Force Order 237, which guides police rules of engagement. Francis Ford reports that in the review document, the Nigeria Police Force would adopt the use of taser and stun guns in the place of conventional live bullets for low-risk operations.
The growing concern by Nigerians over the incidents of abuse of firearms by the security agencies, especially the Nigerian police, has given an impression that there is no comprehensive crime control strategy in the country.
We are happy to officially launch.
That is being corrected as the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, launched a review of Force Order 237, which borders on the use of firearms by its personnel. It is part of the reforms to reposition the police and address extrajudicial killings and human rights abuses.
This document, as it is going to be launched today, we'll send it to all the police training institutions. There's going to be now the new syllabus on the use of firearms.
International Committee of the Red Cross delegates at the event restated the organization's willingness to continue training and provision of technical support services to police to meet up with the international best practices in the discharge of their duties.
The International Committee of the Red Cross in the past years has engaged in extensive capacity building support to the Nigeria Police Force.
A police officer must be certified in the use of firearms before a firearms is issued to that person.
Special training programs are being organized for special units of the police to equip them for policing in the 21st century. In Abuja, Francis from NTA News.
Our next report from Jalingo says Taraba State Command of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has confiscated more than 300 kilograms of illicit drugs within a period of 40 days. State Commander of the agency, Suleiman Jodi, says suspects are arrested in connection to the seizure. Joseph Otsen has details.
In July 2019, the State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency publicly destroyed large kilograms of cannabis and other illicit drugs, which were seized in various parts of Taraba State. However, 40 days after the destruction, the agency has again intercepted and seized about 300 kilograms of illicit drugs within the state. The State Commander, Suleiman Jodi, displayed the seized items, which include cannabis sativa, tramadol, and other syrups. 11 suspects are arrested in connection to the substance. The suspects were arrested with military wares, which they wore to disguise themselves in order to avoid any suspicion by security personnel. The suspects would be charged to court for prosecution the confiscated drugs will be destroyed as soon as a court order to that effect is obtained. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Otsen, NTA News.
Ibadan, Oyo Oshun Command of the Nigerian Customs has seized 1,148 parcels of cannabis sativa worth 160 million naira. Comptroller Abdullahi Zulkifil says the substance was smuggled into Nigeria via the border. Adebola Ogunlana completes the story.
The vehicle, which was concealed with sawdust, was intercepted around Elekoko Ofegun area of Iwajowa local government area of Oyo State. The Customs Zonal Controller of Oyo Abdullahi Zulkifli and the officials of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, after cross-checking, said the wrapped cannabis sativa was 1,047, while the one in bags was 101. However, no arrest was made.
This one is very much new to many. If this is at 150,000 naira, only God knows how much damage it will do to human beings.
They will use a transfer letter to us. The numbers of the exhibits will be written on the transfer letter. Then we now move it to our office.
The Oyo Osun Command of the Nigerian Customs Service therefore warned members of the public to desist from illegal activities and any other trans-border crimes. From Ibadan, Adebola Ogunlana, NTA News.
Up ahead, Speaker throws light on assessment of lawmakers after this timeout. Don't go away.
The president of the Nigerian Institute of Quality Surveyors, QS Obafemi Onoshile, on behalf of the National Executive Council and entire members of the institute, cordially invites the general public to the 50th anniversary celebration, October 5th, 2019. The anniversary celebration incorporates the unveiling of the institute's 5-story headquarters secretariat in Abuja and the public presentation of the NIQS history book, both taking place at 1743 Cadastral Zone, Mabuchi, Abuja. Time 11 a.m. There will also be an anniversary dinner and award gala night on the same day. Venue, Executive Hall, International Conference Center, Abuja. Date, Saturday, October 5th, 2019. Time 6 p.m. Please note, admission to the gala night is strictly by invitation. QS Alabo George, Secretary, Marketing and Corporate Affairs, announcer.
Let's come together as we celebrate the uniqueness of our cultural diversity, showcase our creativity and ingenuity. It's the National Festival for Arts and Culture, NAFEST 2019, in the ancient city of Benin, Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. Our reality, our pride, holding 19th through 26th October 2019. Highlights will include drama, children poetry performance, essay writing competition, crafts competition, indigenous cuisine, traditional rap, indigenous fabrics in royal apparel, cultural quiz competition, board games, and much more. Oh yes, it's the National Festival of Arts and Culture, NAFEST 2019, Edo State, Nigeria, holding 19th to 26th October 2019. We are celebrating our heritage. Otumba Olusegun Onshewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, announcer.
The Alumni Association of Federal School of Arts and Science, MUBI, announces its grand reunion with the theme, The Problems of Education in Nigeria's Development, which is scheduled as follows. Date, Saturday, 5th October 2019. Venue, NAF Conference Center, Kadu, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Special guest of honor, Barrister Boss Gida Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Special lecture to be delivered by Malam Adamu Adamu, Honorable Minister of Education. Announcer Galadima Adamu Mamza Jafia, Interim Chairman.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively taking a look at the traditional television and new media. Are they comparable or complementary? Media industry players give perspective on the trends, progress, challenges, and the way forward. Find out on this compelling edition of TV Guide. Explanatory interviews with stars of the team within our space. Becky Madojemo of NTA, Uteo Mori of AIT, Femi Oguntai of TVT, and the host of others. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Also feature Yamona.
I'm the CEO, managing director of Yamodino Sister Restaurant. I choose to serve
a TV drama series on NTA. Let's get to meet the characters behind Yamodina. This edition also presents exciting features on tourism, culture, entertainment, sports, health, and lots more. Grab a copy at the windows near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says a lot needs to be done to change public perception on the constitutional role of the legislature. He said this while interacting with the leadership of Center for Legislative Engagement, led by former chairman of INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Against the backdrop of findings of a research carried out by the Center for Legislative Engagements on the performance of the 8th Assembly, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila stressed that Parliament's role is lawmaking, representation and oversight are spelt out in the Constitution. This, however, is not the case for a majority of Nigerians who, he says, assess lawmakers on the criteria.
You cannot impose the function of the other. We have to run an organized democracy, not just a democracy. Because the way democracy is interpreted in Nigeria, all it means is that you conducted an election. That's democracy. There's a difference between that organized democracy where people are engaged and they understand the functions of each arm of government.
Professor Atahiru Jega disclosed that a research conducted by the Center in 12 states showed that the Assembly passed a significant number of bills and gave suggestions on how to improve the quality of legislation in the country.
Ideally, Right Honourable Speaker, as you are no doubt aware, averagely, a bill should take less than 6 months to pass. But out of the 515 bills passed by the 8th National Assembly, only 47, which is 9.1%, were passed within 50 days.
He recommended the use of electronic voting on bills and critical motions for credibility. Lami Ali, NTA News.
The convener of Revolution Now movement, Omoyele Sowore, is currently making efforts to meet the bail conditions granted him by a federal high court sitting in Abuja. Olabode Arewa reports.
Omoyele Sowore and Olawale Bakare were arraigned by the Department of State Security DSS on 7-count charge of alleged treasonable felony, insulting President Muhammadu Buhari and plotting to overthrow the federal government by calling for a revolution. They pleaded not guilty to the charges when their trial came up last Monday. At Friday's resumed sitting, the announcer Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, argued that various courts in the country had established that the use of the word revolution was not a criminal offense and no police permit was required to embark on a peaceful protest. Falana urged the court to grant the accused person's bail pending the trial. The prosecuting counsel, Hassan Liman, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, opposed the bail application, arguing that under Section 162 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 and Section 41 of the Criminal Code, the defendants had not met the requirements to obtain bail, saying they could also jump bail. The court, in its discretion, said granting the bail would enable them prepare adequately for trial. The court granted Sowore bail in the sum of 100 million naira and 2 shorties who must have landed property in Abuja. Sowore is required to deposit his international passport with the court and not leave Abuja without permission. Meanwhile, Bakare was granted 50 million naira bail with 2 shorties. The court also restricted him from leaving Osun State his residence, except to attend trial and not attend any rally.
God has made his order and given the conditions for the bail. So
we are willing to see to the fulfillment of the bail condition.
There is nobody who is above the law in the country. We will take appropriate steps to ensure that our clients regain their freedom as soon as possible.
The case is adjourned to the 8th of November 2019 for commencement of trial. In Abuja, Olabodarewa, NTA News.
Nigerian borders will remain closed until her neighboring countries adhere and commence implementing the ECOWAS Protocol on Trade Agreement. Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs, Colonel Hamid Ali, who played host to the national chairman of APC, says the closure is yielding the desired results. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
From 2015, this visit by the national chairman of APC, Adams Oshiomhole, is to say thank you to the management of the Nigerian Customs Service and encourage them to do more.
It is a shame that while we celebrate and devote huge resources to reproduction and agriculture, we at the same time allow people to import rice that have expired in foreign silos for 5 years, 10 years, and some Shylock importers and smugglers go for this expired rice, break them and dump them in our country. And the long-term health implications are better imagined.
Our goal and objective of closure of the border is to get our neighboring head to come and sit with our own president and agree on adherence to those protocols.
The customs boss, Hamid Ali, says during the period, the service has generated 115 billion naira in the month of September alone, the highest so far since he assumed office. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress says with peace and unity among its members and supporters in Bayelsa State, the party will emerge victorious in the November 16 governorship election in the state. National Chairman Adams Oshiomhole appealed to the people of Bayelsa State to focus more on issues of peaceful coexistence in propagating the party's ideology and desire for good governance.
And it becomes more so as we approach election. Election call for unity and teamwork. If there is one business in which one tree cannot make a forest, it is political party business.
This stakeholders' engagement is part of APC pre-election activities in Bayelsa State. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, says he is determined to enhance coordination in the operations of the Nigerian Armed Forces for effective national defense and security. The minister stated this at the inauguration of the newly constructed facilities in the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukun has more.
Accompanied by service chiefs, the Minister of Defense inaugurated the 200-bedroom cadet accommodation, 2 blocks of 4-bedroom master warrant officers, 8 units of 2-bedroom flats, 2 blocks of 1-bedroom and 6 units of 3-bedroom accommodation for staff sergeants, as well as Protestant Church and Central Mosque at the Nigerian Defense Academy.
I remember when I was a cadet, the naval facilities is not more than a bungalow of 4 bedrooms, but now you can see the development both in the technological listing and infrastructural development. And I think things are moving with dynamics of time.
While acknowledging the strides being achieved in the Nigerian Armed Forces, Major General Salihu Magashi says he is determined to make the forces more responsive to security threats in the country.
I'm in charge and I follow the design of the operation of the ministry and the operation of our major assignment as to the defense of the country.
The inauguration of these facilities aimed at enhancing the welfare of cadets and personnel is coming on the heels of the 67th graduation ceremony of the Nigerian Defense Academy. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Gachkun, NTA News.
Let's now join Kemi in Ibadan for stories from that zone. Hello, Kemi.
Hello,
you, Lydia, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Returnees from South Africa who are indigenes of Oyo State have been encouraged to start a new life in the country. The state government gave a charge while receiving them at the Secretariat in Ibadan. Adekunle Adebayo has the reports.
Seeking greener pasture abroad was to make both ends meet for the basic necessity of life. However, the move did not favor Nigerians and other African foreigners in South Africa.
I took the cars there, and with this xenophobia attack, they burnt the car overnight. So that was where the last straw was drawn.
I discovered they were chasing. This is very real. So I have to run through a corner, and then I ran into somebody else's compound.
We have to do orientation for them. We have to reintegrate them, and then we have to do some form of empowerment for them so that they'll be back into the system.
If some of you want to do government job, if you want the prerequisite, the qualification, doing employment, you'll be considered.
A token was given as transport fare to their various hometown pending the conclusion of needs assessment for proper engagement and empowerment. Out of 317 returnees from South Africa that are Nigerian indigenes, we have 30 among them from Oyo State and 8 minors. From Ibadan, Adekunle Adebayo, NTA News.
Quality education and national development can be achieved with adequate funding of adult education for acquisition of knowledge to complement the production of various specialized disciplines. This is the submission of stakeholders at a lecture on adult education and national development. Correspondent Kemi Akiwande tells us more.
Education promoters in Nigeria are concerned that about 30% of the population cannot read or write, and so emphasized the need to ensure that adult education remains relevant to provide opportunity to those who at one time or the other missed out of formal education system.
Adult education brings reconciliation, understanding, mutual understanding to people with differences.
Key players in the education sector are of the opinion that the battle against illiteracy in the country is yet to be won and called on government to play its part.
So my appeal is that to government, federal, state, to ensure the funding of this area of education.
People who have not had even proper secondary education can be brought up to be able to develop themselves to the level of further training themselves or acquiring a degree in the university.
Educationists said 70 years of adult education at the University of Ibadan is a structure that should be built upon for the interest of the nation and continuing development. In Ibadan, Kemi Akiwande, NTA News.
Meanwhile, officers and men of the War Against Indiscipline have been told to imbibe discipline and bring their training to bear while discharging their statutory duties. This was at a capacity building organized by the National Orientation Agency, NOAA, for Y Brigade volunteers to enhance community policing in Oyo State. Rafia Ademashan Badmus has the report.
The 628 chosen officers of Y Brigade were selected across the 33 local government areas in the state. The trainers' capacity building and community policing is to improve their skills and security to foster a robust synergy between them and other security agencies.
We need to re-empower them to know how to go about it so that they don't risk their own life, to be factual in their reports, to be sensitive in handling information that we regard as intelligent information.
I know they will have gone through some trainings, so they should put the trainings in place, into use.
Service commanders present charge beneficiaries to discharge their duties responsibly and complement the effort of security agencies for a safe, orderly, and peaceful society.
And everybody wants the betterment of this country, so whatever they do, they should know that thing should have a core impact on the development of Nigeria.
We want our men to please them, takes to all what they had
gathered here today.
In Ibadan, via Animation Badmus, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Ibadan. It's back to Lydia in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Kemi. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government remains committed to providing quality education for all Nigerians at all levels. The Vice President stated this in a message to the 30th convocation of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. Abdullahi Muhammad reports.
Gathered here at the General Ihejirika Hall of the Nigeria Defense Academy are 319 graduating cadets for the 67 regular Corps Army, 66 regular Navy and Air Force, and postgraduate students for conferment of degrees in various fields of study.
Whatever we learn and acquire when we go out to represent the academy.
Coming to a military area is another thing, you know, the way they do their things, the discipline, the classes, lecturers, everything about them is just different.
In a message to the occasion, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government will continue to accord priority to the provision of quality education at all levels to stimulate growth.
The federal government is aware of the significance of education as a tool for progress and national development. This is reflected in the allocation of 625 billion naira for this purpose.
The Vice President asked the graduating cadets to prepare themselves for the task of national defense and development. Two prominent Nigerians, Air Marshal Alamin Musa Dagash and Lieutenant General Joseph Woni, were conferred honorary doctorate degree of military science in recognition of their contributions to global peace and security.
In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
Nigeria is making strides in the technological world in its quest to accelerate economic growth and entrepreneurship. It is against this background that Nigeria becomes the first African country to be represented twice at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Regional Entrepreneurship Program. The Minister of Communication, Dr. Isa Ali Pantami, at a media briefing, says Nigeria has a lot to offer at the 7th cohort of the program running between 2019 and 2021. Correspondent Abdul Malik Adiu has more.
Meet Nasir Yamama, a 26-year-old Nigerian with a knack for technology. He is a recipient of the 2017 Queen Elizabeth II prestigious Young Leaders Medal. Nasir represents thousands of Nigerian youths with interest in information communication technology and entrepreneurship and are gaining from the Abuja team of the 7th cohort of MIT REAP program geared at developing intellect.
So for me, I'm the first entrepreneur on the team, and I think that what we're going to be doing in Boston in the next couple of weeks, it's analyzing the entrepreneurial capacity and the innovation capacity of Abuja and putting a framework that will churn out literally innovation-driven entrepreneurs who are going to change the world.
At this meeting in Changing the Narrative, the Minister of Communication lauded the growth of innovative-driven technology in lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty and unemployment.
We see opportunities for innovations, building on successes in ICT to extend support to other key industries in the region like agribusiness, energy, construction, financial services and mining, and interrelate them.
There are pockets of entrepreneurs here in hubs, technology hubs within the city, who have been doing tremendous work, and I think what you are bringing to the city is going to be very important. And you can be rest assured that the FCT will provide you all the needed support.
With a wider outreach, it is believed that participants in the MIT REAP program, like Nasir, will spring up technological ideas in breaking new ground for industrialization. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Adiu, NTA News.
Let's now join Lagos, where Jennifer is standing by to give us the latest from that zone. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Lagos.
A 149-bed maternity and child health facility has been inaugurated in Igondo, Alimosho local government area of Lagos State as a strategic intervention by the federal government in the nation's healthcare delivery system. In her message to the event, Nigeria's First Lady, Aisha Buhari, urged the women in the council to optimize the use of the project aimed at reducing mother and child mortality in Lagos. Diana Ajale reports.
Building center can boast of state-of-the-art equipment, ranging from 2 operating theaters, vacuum extractor delivering set, baby incubators, ultrascan machines, and other key tools needed to ensure safety of mother and child during delivery. Nigeria's First Lady, Aisha Buhari, who was represented, says,
I believe it will go a long way in reducing the spread of maternal and child mortality in our country.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Dejoke Orelope Adefulori, who facilitated the project, said the present administration will continue to work towards the transformative pledge of not leaving anyone behind.
A genuine desire and commitment to reduce the high rate of maternal country that my office constructed and equipped 10 number 149 bed mother and child center across Nigeria.
There's no reason why a woman should lose her life in the process of bringing forth life.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the target of his administration is to be people-oriented in infrastructure development and ensure that the state health insurance policy is fully implemented.
For us as the government, what we're also doing here falls in tandem with the Economic Policy Trust, which we have christened our team's agenda.
Similar projects have been completed in 10 different states and will also be replicated in other parts of the country. In Lagos, Diana Jale, NTA News.
To the environment. Realizing the crucial role of biodiversity and the ecosystem to human and sustainable development goals, the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity was created in year 2012. A 2-day workshop for stakeholders on the Nigerian platform of the Global Initiative has started in Lagos. Nigeria has a rich biodiversity that would make many nations green with envy.
We have about 8,500 to 9,000 different species of plants in Nigeria. We have close to 1,000 different species of birds. Some countries just have 15, 20 types of birds. We have close to 1,000. We have about 20,000 different species of insects in Nigeria. So our biodiversity is really very rich.
The nation's wealthy biodiversity, if not well conserved and harnessed sustainably, experts say, could become alarmingly poor.
We have other countries in East Africa that are doing very well, even without oil. Yes, Kenya, Tanzania, they're all faring very well without oil. But we have oil, we have the biodiversity on our doorposts.
A technical forum like this under the Nigerian platform of the Intergovernmental Science Policy on Biodiversity and Ecosystem is aimed at assessing reports by the Global Initiative. It is also to identify strategies and opportunities for strengthening biodiversity conservation in Nigeria.
People take nature for granted. That's just a natural thing you can just take anyhow. But when you take it and you don't do replacement or you don't do it at a sustainable level, it will finish, it will go into extinction. And the generation coming will not be able to have access to it as we are having now.
Opportunities for financing Nigeria's biodiversity conservation for sustainable development and localizing of the Intergovernmental Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Assessment and Policy Tools for National Development are some of the issues analyzed at the meeting. Now, over 7,000 core members posted to Lagos State for the 2018 Batch C Stream 1 scheme have been presented with their NYSC certificates after the successful completion of their service to their fatherland. Some of the core members shared their experiences with Khadijat Akombi.
29-year-old Robert Favor studied law as his second degree from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, while 23-year-old Fatima Aliyu Kadaji, a graduate of banking and finance, is from Maiduguri. They both described their service here in Lagos as a worthwhile experience.
Lagos was the experience was very good.
So coming to Lagos from Maiduguri is a wonderful experience because I've met many people in different religions, different tribes, and everything is wonderful.
For Francis Jeremiah, who is from Oyo State, and Alison Chibichefulam, who is from Abia State, the NYSC scheme is a laudable program but should be improved upon.
Generally, a lot of people teach, but I feel like this should be better because imagine going to school and you're studying elect and you're coming to teach. I don't feel like you're using your rights, using your skill sets properly.
The Lagos State NYSC director gave his assessment of the core members.
They have been very responsive, very cooperative, and they have been amenable to discipline.
For the core members, who were all filled with excitement, it is all thanks to God for the successful completion of their service to their fatherland. In Lagos, Khadija Takumbe, NTA News.
That's a contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja. Lydia, over to you.
Many thanks, Jennifer. As the nation strives to achieve a healthy and vibrant population, some health experts on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria have identified funding and manpower as the major challenges responsible for the limited coverage of health services among the National Health Insurance Scheme enrollees. Daniel Derrier has more to tell us.
Health, they say, is wealth. And with a growing estimated population of over 200 million people, it is expedient to ensure the health of the citizens. Guests in Good Morning Nigeria identified funding and expansion of the scheme to subnational levels as factors that have contributed to the challenges facing the National Health Insurance Scheme.
If you pull the resources, the 10% and the 5% from employees, and you now say that this is the money that is supposed to be used to provide all the services that patients will require, then we are missing the point.
Majority of patients that are being treated, about 70%, are not federal government employees. These are private sector, private people, that is informal sector, the communities. So these are the major people that need to be covered, and they're not covered.
Nigeria has no choice. If we really want to give health to our people, make it compulsory.
The guests, however, called for the infusion of technology-driven policies that will allow for a more transparent and corrupt-free structure, as well as redeployment of staff to the state level, where more health personnel are needed.
Under the new NHIS, we want to see a situation whereby an employee will just log into his handset and be able to select his own provider and select his HMO.
It's only with mandatory health insurance that we're going to be able to achieve some level of universal health coverage. And we're saying that the federal government should increase the budget to health. They're doing, but it's not enough. They should do more.
A system has been started. Let us strengthen that system so that all the processes that are having one each or the other we can make it better.
They also advised that health personnel should be provided with better working environment and better welfare to facilitate the smooth implementation of the health insurance scheme. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is to review humanitarian engagements in the Northeast. This follows the recent suspension of the activities of 2 international non-governmental organizations in the region by the Theater Command of Operation Lafia Dole, citing sabotage of military counterinsurgency operations. Ruth Aguele has more.
Desperate times, they say, require desperate measures. And so in building capacity for rapid response and mitigation of humanitarian crises in the country, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is taking strategic measures to fill up loopholes by streamlining all humanitarian engagements in the Northeast region.
We have reviewed concerns both locally and internationally on the recent concerns by the suspension by the military of the activities of these two NGOs in the Northeast. This suspension, which is temporary, is to enable the government to carry out a review with the view to delivering better services to the IDPs.
The minister also affirmed the commitment of the ministry to verify the allegations through ongoing investigations for a peaceful resolution. Before then, the ministry continues to engage different stakeholders to enhance coordination and collaboration to meet impending challenges and build stronger humanitarian assistance for Nigeria. The American Embassy and EU delegates were among those the minister met.
We wanted to learn more about what the ministry is doing because we have a lot of investment in humanitarian operations in Nigeria, and so this is a natural partner, and we wanted to meet the new minister and find out what her priorities were.
And we have, of course, offered our help to support the coordination role that she will have in taking forward the assistance, making sure that it reaches all those Nigerians in need.
The minister's focus is to expand the scope through recovery and development of the Northeast for an effective humanitarian intervention. In Abuja, Ruth Aguala, NT News.
Federal government plans to establish cultural focal centers in higher institutions across the country aimed at reawakening cultural values on the minds of Nigerian youths. Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Runshewe, made this known at the second series of the University of Abuja Democracy Lecture. Oyinaya Kaloka reports.
Like most universities, the population of the University of Abuja is mostly youths who, according to cultural experts, are affected and influenced by negative tendencies as a result of globalization and imperialism. That informs the second series of the institution's democracy lecture, focusing on culture, identity, and national development to halt the fast-eroding Nigerian culture and the negative impacts. The message was packaged in the language the youth understand and appreciate most: music, drama, and poetry, all centered on the importance of returning to Nigerian cultural values.
Why must Africans be ashamed of their culture? Why must Africans be stereotyped because of their culture?
Knowing where we are coming from, knowing where we are, and where we are going.
There's no amount of...
Calling for cultural reawakening, the Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Runshewe, noted that Nigeria's search for national development cannot be accomplished without being anchored on her cultural values. Citing China and India that have recognized the importance of culture, he disclosed federal government's plan to tow same paths by establishing cultural focal centers in high institutions.
The moment we put some of those things in place, a lot of you to be busy. Culture will be a very strong tool for uniting Nigeria.
For the students, it was one lecture that has made great impact on them. The Democracy Lecture by the University of Abuja is an annual event of the Department of History and Diplomatic Studies. Oyinaya Kaloka, NTA News.
It's time for another break. Do stay for the concluding part of the
Their ancestors were taken away as slaves. Now they return as kings and queens on a pilgrimage back to the motherland. The third door of return ceremony, Diaspora Festival, Badagry, Lagos, Nigeria, takes place in Badagry from the 15th to the 20th of October 2019. For details on participation and sponsorship, contact the following. Website adore.ng. The African Door of Return Experience. Don't miss it. Brought to you by the African Door of Return Experience Initiative in collaboration with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission and the African Renaissance Foundation. Chief host, the Lagos State Government.
The NTA ETV Annual Expo is here again. This time, it's the 13th edition with the theme Promoting Unity and Innovations in Youths as Agents of Change Through Science and Arts.
It promises to be captivating as youths across the nation showcase their unique skills and innovations in science and arts, make new friends, and showcase their rich cultural heritage. Join us at the NTA Headquarters Arena, Area 11, Baki, Abuja, from Sunday 20th October to Thursday 24th October 2019. For more information, participation, and sponsorship, please call these numbers. NTA ETV, promoting learning.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, their disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rate.
Thanks for staying. The economic and cultural ties between Nigeria and the United States of America have been given a further boost as some African Americans trace their roots to Nigeria. This is as Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary celebration resonates across the world, as well as 400 years of slavery that saw many Africans transported to foreign lands. Ngozi Silva, Technico, reports.
If you call it celebration of 59th independence of Nigeria across border lines, or celebration of the end of 400 years of African slavery in the United States of America, you will not be mistaken. The coming of these African Americans who have distinguished themselves in different fields of endeavor to Nigeria is born out of recognition that their descent originates from Africa and Nigeria in particular. Capping the mission is the adoption of indigenous names by these Afro-Americans who express willingness to bring their wealth of experience to bear in moving the country to the next level.
I really do think the country needs a large public relations campaign, particularly in America.
To have you welcome me in such a way, to give me a second name, it just means so much.
I love Nigeria. I love coming here. It feels very good. The Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonnia Ono, while applauding their homecoming, highlighted the nation's areas of needs.
We are diverse, but our strength is in that diversity. And our president is working very hard with all the people you see here to see how we can harness diversity and build a nation that all of us will be proud of.
You have conquered the injustices that America has particularly perpetuated upon those of us of African descent.
The African Americans pledged their continuous loyalty and promised to improve on Nigeria's image across the shores of Africa. In Abuja, Ngozi Silva, Technico, NTA News.
Next is sports with Kene Emagbodike.
With 2 days to the end of the ongoing 17th World